And to be honest, from what I saw in Spain on the videos last year, and certainly Greece, if you remember Greece and Turkey, there were just mass protests in the streets, hundreds and thousands of people. So we definitely need more people there. Obviously, this is a remote area, and it takes a while to drive to from the airport, but we definitely need as many people as possible to throw the spotlight on these Bilderberg criminals that are meeting up in the mountains at the moment.
Now, Paul, again, I can rant all day and make my points, but we need everybody to get Twitters out, phone calls, news websites. The Google search term today, we've got to make it #1, Bilderberg protest. 2 words entered into Google and Yahoo and everywhere else over and over again. Everybody write your own articles. Get global attention onto this Bilderberg protest. You can also reverse it and then say protest Bilderberg. Okay? Bilderberg Group a lot of times becomes the #1 search during this week anyways. So we're going to push it over the edge. It's become the #1 search term in the next hour or two. That's how it always works. Bilderberg protest. Protest Bilderberg. Reverse those 2. But the first main term we're doing is Bilderberg protest. Put those words in. I'm even doing it myself during the break in the Google box. We need to make that #1 and the global call. And I want to make sure, I need to call Steve back to make sure in his article that he explains these are the bankers, these are the crooks. Why protest in your capitals? Your capitals have been bought off by these criminals. Go to where the real scum is this Saturday, high noon. That gives us 3 days to build up, Paul.
That's right. And if you're flying into Zurich Airport, it's about a 2.5-hour drive out there, and the scenery is just breathtaking. So even if you don't get anything else out of it, I mean, the place itself is beautiful, and it's just a shame that the people meeting here are not.
Well, France, of course, Austria and Italy are right there. We're talking hours from this. But in the Swiss, and we have a lot of listeners in Switzerland. We're rated as one of the top sites there. Get there. Go there. Go there. It's your right to say no to the criminals. The mafia's meeting. Let the world know we're not putting up with it. A lot of times the mafia hires communists to come out and protest to make folks look bad. Let's have true liberty patriots there explaining who's there. And I got to call Steve back. He's got to make sure in the article we explain these are the people bringing in another wave of economic implosion and global austerity. Paul, video can't capture what you see with your eyes. Any other observations? How were the police's mannerisms? What was their bearing? Were they robotic, or were they looking at you as if you were scum, or were they friendly?
They were giving us the eyeball, but on the whole, they didn't really harass us at all. They let us film, they let us video record. Other people were saying that there were police carrying around guns, but we didn't see any guns. Some of them appeared to have some kind of taser device, although that could have just been a baton.
The Swiss are the most heavily armed. Sorry, go ahead.
There were other people who were saying that there were people in the streets down in the actual town itself, because the hotel's up in the hills. There were secret police walking around asking for people's ID. That's what the journalists who were already there told us. But from what we saw, certainly if you compare it to what Charlie Skelton experienced in Greece, where he was constantly harassed and arrested and followed around, the security and the police were reasonably kind to us in that they didn't harass us or ask for ID or anything. But, of course, there's a long way to go.
Yeah, in the U.S. they did some of that and would try to tell us to turn the cameras off, but after we told them we weren't going to do it, then they behaved themselves in Virginia. And it's a shame that the cops are so willing to energetically protect literally a bunch of criminals. I mean, these people are globalist tyrants, and we're streaming video right now from Justin TV also of Luke talking about how he was detained for 40 minutes and had his passport taken. Stay on the line, Paul, but we've got Aaron Dykes there with us. Aaron, what are your observations at the first day, the prelude to the kickoff tomorrow morning of the Global Crime Syndicate meeting?
Well, Alex, to start with the literal, I'm literally looking at the hotel where the Bilderberg are staying right now from my hotel window, along with these gorgeous mountains. And frankly, like Paul was saying, I'd rather turn my attention to the natural beauty, but we can't ignore what they're doing on this planet and the way they're controlling. But one major contradiction, I did in fact see police with sidearms, and I'm not sure if the security also had them, but I definitely saw pistols And there was a baton, which may have also been one of those tasing baton devices. We don't know for sure.
But it's not the usual thing in Italy or in Spain or in Greece where they have submachine guns they shove in your face.
No, we haven't seen the submachine gun people here yet. Perhaps, tomorrow could be another day. If they're not there right now, they were not there earlier.
Well, I'll say this. I don't have a problem with the cops being like that in Switzerland because the citizens can run around with their fully autos and hand grenades, and they have the lowest crime rate in the world. So I think it's great. More guns, less crime. Other points, Aaron, that are key for folks to know.
Well, we're just obviously going to keep an eye on what's going on. We know the groups they're part of and how their agendas merge. So we're going to have those points come out. As you know, a lot of the talking points have come out from the past years of things they've discussed, and among it are the Arab Spring and the revolutions in the Middle East. They talked about that at 2010 in Sitka, Spain, and I really expect to see an escalation of that agenda for the rest of this year.
Amazing. I want to come back and talk strategy, but in the next 10, 15 minutes, Kurt, that's why we're going into overdrive for Internet listeners only at Infowars.com. That's why Kurt Nimmo is in there laboring on this big report that we've got the agenda from Tucker's mold. A lot of it's been confirmed by the Swiss papers that confirm they are deciding from their sources who the next IMF head will be. And reportedly they're looking at it being the Mexican bankster out of Mexico, the finance minister. We've also got the fact that they do want to have a larger conflagration, that they are stirring up the war in the Middle East as a political diversion. They're very upset that Congress is talking about standing up to Obama going to war with UN authority. I mean, it'd be bad if the president did it on his own. It's even worse to do it and say, I have UN authority and not talk to Congress. So that's going on. Their move to go after the alternative media, the fact that they're scared of the alternative media and the awakening to them. We've got a large part of it. Now, Tucker's going to get more Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll have continual coverage here for you, gentlemen. But when we come back, I want to get other key points from you. Then I'll go into the next hour, cover the latest breaking news, take some phone calls and some other news I haven't gotten to yet. But, gentlemen, we're about to go to break. Paul, what are some other tidbits we'll cover on the other side?
Well, there are numerous reports that have come out in the past few hours. There's one from Swiss Info. There's another from expatica.com. Of course, Charlie Skelton's put out a report. And most of them are quite generic, downplaying the event, so we can discuss how the media is covering this on the other side.
All right, stay there. Stand by. We've got the reporters. We've got the will. We've got the intel. And the big protest is on Saturday, high noon. Okay. Two big reports. This is a big deal, folks. We're going to have a global call to confront the actual criminals, not their puppet capitals in Europe, over the austerity. The lion's share of the European tax money and our tax money is going to these criminals. These are the engineers of our pain. And high noon in St. Moritz, Switzerland. If you're in Europe, folks, you need to be there. High noon. Get there. That is the protest date. High noon. Key Google search term. Google it right now. Put it in over and over again. A Google bomb. Bilderberg protest. And then you can reverse it and search it. Protest Bilderberg. And that will lead them to the protest article that Steve Watson will soon get up at prisonplanet.com. I cannot stress to you how important this is. And soon, Kurt Nimmo will have his exclusive report. This is breaking here with more details than we've been given so far on the first portion of the agenda that we've gotten from a man who 100% has the intel. So this is huge. Going back to Aaron Dykes. Aaron, other points. I mean, this looks like more security, though, with cameras and a tarp to block the cars and all of this than and floodlights than we've seen at previous events.
Right. Take, for instance, Canada, where they used the backdoor ramp drop so they could hide a lot of their high-profile people, including Hillary Clinton. This year they have the entrance checkpoint where they do the key validation, making sure the people are on the list, and they put up a barrier wall, keeping down the visibility so you can identify or easily take pictures. Then they've got roughly 150 yards, maybe even 200 yards to the main entrance. So it's quite receded. It's covered in trees. and they've really made it a challenge to photograph.
And this is our government representatives violating the Logan Act. Hillary was fined, what was it, $300,000 for this back in the mid-'90s. Going and meeting and hiding and then lying and being caught, not wanting the media to cover it, but usually it's only the alternative media covers it anyways. But I'm looking at these photos. You can get down the road with the zoom camera, zoom in, and still get shots of them at that checkpoint. There's more than one way to skin a cat in the info war, and we're going to get these videos. They'll undoubtedly also be toddling around in the resort below, and so you know what to do there. We're going to get the video and identify these criminals and their activities. Aaron?
Yeah, and they know we're watching them. I mean, the protesters that are here now are very visible, and if we get a lot more numbers, the message will clearly be sent. For those that do come to the village, it's quite small, so you will be seen, you will be heard. I would imagine there's a lot of places to stay. Of course, a few places are closed down because it's off-season from the ski resort, but there should be room to come on down, and you can literally see it. It's kind of up on the hill, the Master Hotel overlooking the lake that's part of the mountains here in St. Moritz. And so if they do leave the hotel, I would imagine they, too, will be easily seen, and I think it would be hard for them to hide, Alex.
Well, Aaron, I am calling on everybody. We need to make this big. We need the people of Europe and the world who are being robbed by these folks to actually go confront the people that are buying and selling our politicians. And also, everyone should pick newspapers and TV in Switzerland to call, but also international media, and demand they cover it. If you had 125 top media people or Hollywood folks meeting, it would be helicopters, the press, thousands of gawking spectators, but they try to run this electronic Berlin Wall and have this blackout. We've got to break that blackout in the American press. And that's another issue. Where's Bilderberg in the U.S. News? There's a blackout on that. Gentlemen, stay there. Let's do 5 minutes into the next hour. For Internet only, for stations, the main show's ending. We'll be over at Infowars.com. And we'll continue on the audio and video streams at prisonplanet.tv to cover what's happening. Then I'll go over the agenda as soon as Kurt's article comes out. It's set to come out any minute. The big protest Saturday. Be there. More coverage tomorrow. Well, incredible coverage of the global crime syndicate meeting in St. Moritz, Switzerland. We're now into Internet-only overdrive. Well, we're on the satellite. Stations can pick this up if they want. We've been talking to Paul Watson. We're talking to Aaron Dykes, and we've got two big reports. The big announcement of the global protest to convene Saturday at high noon in St. Moritz, Switzerland, and big chunks of the super-secret Bilderberg agenda from the mole we've got through Tucker and others. And a lot of what Tucker's now said is also confirmed by a Swiss newspaper that a lot of big decisions are being made, as we knew. This is huge news. So that's all coming out very, very soon. I'll keep doing overdrive until I get the info and can cover it here. But, gentlemen, Paul Watson, so much to talk about. As soon as you hang up the phone, you're going to remember some issues you forgot to cover. What else is important that people need to know about what's happening?
Well, Alex, there was a kind of a red herring put out because everybody said that it was going to be at the Hotel Pinsky. When we drove into town, into St. Moritz, we drove directly past this hotel. And, in fact, you can see it from this hotel window as well. And it was all shut down. There was nobody there. And that's what started the rumor in the first place, because people had tried to book rooms there 4 days during this Bilderberg conference. And that was the kind of herring, but they're actually way up on the hill at a more secluded spot, which is what you would expect, because this Kapinski Hotel is right down, basically just outside the center of town. So it's no surprise that it is up at the Savretta Hotel and not at the Kapinski, which is what many had reported beforehand.
Any other points, Paul?
No, Tucker said about the Libya thing, they're terrified of Congress stopping the bombing of Libya. They want a gigantic war in the Middle East, which is the same as what they said last year. Of course, we know they're still concerned about the Greek debt situation and the euro. We had Bilderberg